I'm really excited for this new beginning and to build something from the ground up here with the Valkyries.
As the WNBA undergoes its first expansion in nearly 20 years, the Golden State Valkyries step onto the scene, poised to make a significant impact. Kate Martin makes her much-anticipated return to the court, now proudly wearing the new franchise's jersey and shouldering immense expectations. Unfortunately, A'ja Wilson is displeased with this development and appears to hold resentment toward Kate, viewing her actions as a betrayal.
Yeah, honestly, my focus has just been getting better. I mean, all around. I had a decent rookie season, but I just know something that's really cool about me is that my ceiling is very high.
Meanwhile, reigning MVP A'ja Wilson is feeling increasing pressure as she watches rivals and newcomers aggressively enhance their game. With Caitlin Clark already emerging as the next major star, brace yourself for a season that promises a true transformation on the court. Envision the scenario after many years without a significant shift. The WNBA is finally undergoing a substantial expansion. The last time something of this magnitude occurred was nearly 2 decades ago, and now the Golden State Valkyries are stepping into the league with all the fanfare and excitement.
I have a lot of room to grow. Always working on my shot, always working on being quicker, but
behind the scenes, analysts, players, and fans were restless, eagerly speculating about the names selected in the WNBA expansion draft. Amid corridor whispers, leaked information, and bold assumptions, one name stood out: Kate Martin, officially chosen by the Golden State Valkyries. Her acquisition is poised to shift the league's power dynamics, directly impacting established stars like current MVP A'ja Wilson. With the Valkyries entering the league amidst the first major expansion in nearly 2 decades, Kate Martin becomes a central figure for the ambitious new franchise. Her presence not only energizes the already massive fan base, but also signifies the Valkyries' intent to make a significant mark. This move heightens the competition for A'ja Wilson, who now faces intensified pressure from new teams, emerging talents, and the rising star Caitlin Clark, who is quickly becoming a top contender for the MVP title. The upcoming season is set to be transformative, with the WNBA experiencing a true revolution on the court. The Golden State Valkyries, backed by Kate Martin, are ready to challenge the status quo, while the Indiana Fever are meticulously rebuilding to reclaim their prominence. This creates a multifaceted threat landscape for Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces as they navigate not only traditional rivals, but also fresh talent eager to ascend. Caitlin Clark's emergence adds another layer of excitement and tension. Her offensive prowess, court vision, and magnetic personality position her as a formidable rival to Wilson, potentially leading to a fierce MVP showdown. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever, despite losing some players in the expansion draft, are strategically assembling a team hungry for victory, ensuring that the competition remains fierce and unpredictable. As the WNBA grows with new teams and rising stars, the stage is set for a season filled with tight confrontations, strategic trades, and intense behind-the-scenes maneuvers. The clash between the Golden State Valkyries, Indiana Fever, Las Vegas Aces, and standout players like A'ja Wilson and Caitlin Clark will define the league's future. Fans can look forward to thrilling matchups and the rise of new legends as the WNBA continues to evolve. The central question remains: who will emerge victorious as the league undergoes these profound transformations? Will Kate Martin lead the Valkyries to success and become their iconic face? Can the Indiana Fever reinvent themselves and challenge the established powerhouses? And will A'ja Wilson maintain her MVP status against the rising threat of Caitlin Clark? These answers will unfold on the court, making the upcoming season one of the most exciting and pivotal in WNBA history. Here's a story you might not hear much about, but it says a lot about the state of the WNBA and the dynamics within its teams. Just recently, Tami Fagbenle, a talented forward and seasoned international player, was released by the Indiana Fever. On paper, it might look like just another roster change, but the reasons behind her departure and the treatment she endured paint a much more complicated picture. Tami always had a strong bond with Caitlin Clark during her time with the team, but rumors have long swirled about NaLyssa Smith's alleged mistreatment of both players. Could this be the real reason behind Tami's departure? To understand the full story, we need to dig deeper into how it all unfolded. Let's start with her history. Tami Fagbenle isn't just any player. Born in Baltimore, raised in the UK, and a Harvard graduate, she's had a storied career both on and off the court. Internationally, she's represented Great Britain with distinction, even leading her national team to historic finishes in European competition. In the WNBA, she's been a reliable presence, known for her versatility, defense, and ability to contribute in key moments. She's played for the Minnesota Lynx in the past, where she won a championship in 2017 and brought that same winning mentality to the Fever. So why was she released? Officially, the team cited roster constraints and the need to focus on rebuilding around younger talent. The Fever have been in a long, frustrating rebuild phase, and Fagbenle's veteran status likely made her a target. But there's more to it. According to reports, her relationship with the team had been strained for months, partly because of tensions with younger star NaLyssa Smith. Now, NaLyssa Smith is one of the Fever's rising stars. Drafted second overall in 2022, she has quickly become a key player for the franchise. But according to insiders, Smith didn't exactly make Fagbenle's time on the team easy. Sources close to the team have alleged instances where Smith undermined Fagbenle during practices, criticized her play openly, and even made dismissive comments about her veteran leadership. While Smith's star power has certainly helped the Fever on the court, it's clear her influence off the court may have contributed to Fagbenle's release. Fagbenle, for her part, has remained professional throughout the situation. In her limited statements, she's expressed gratitude for her time with the Fever and her teammates, but those who followed her career know that she's never been one to cause drama or create division. The fact that she found herself pushed out of the team says more about the Fever's internal dynamics than it does about her abilities or attitude. The bigger question here is whether the Fever made the right call. By letting go of a veteran like Fagbenle, they're doubling down on their youth movement. But at what cost? Veteran players like her bring leadership, stability, and experience, qualities that are often undervalued in a league like the WNBA, which already struggles with retaining its stars and fostering strong team cultures. As for Fagbenle's future, it's uncertain. She has plenty of options overseas, where she's already proven herself as a top player in Europe, and there's no doubt she'll continue to thrive. But her exit from the Fever is a stark reminder of the challenges faced by veteran players in the WNBA, especially when team dynamics and internal politics come into play. In the end, the release of Tami Fagbenle isn't just about roster changes. It's a story about a league still figuring out how to balance youth and experience, talent and leadership. And for Fagbenle, it's a chapter that closes with more questions than answers.
It's that time. Call this.
You guys, everyone wants me to cry today. No way. Oh.
Have you ever witnessed a basketball star tear up over someone else's triumph? Well, A'ja Wilson just did. The WNBA champion was seen in tears, but not for the reasons you'd expect. It's all in response to Caitlin Clark's emotional jersey retirement announcement.
I was like in tears, y'all.
You might be asking, what's all the fuss about? Don't players have their jerseys retired all the time? Well, not like this. Caitlin Clark's retirement ceremony is already setting records before it's even happened. Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson's fans are crying foul, suggesting Iowa orchestrated this to steal the spotlight. But what spotlight? Iowa likely didn't even know when South Carolina planned Wilson's ceremony, especially since she graduated nearly a decade ago. We've got the facts, the timeline, and fan reactions that tell a different story. Let's break down why Wilson's tears are flowing and how Clark is once again changing the game for women's basketball. February 2nd, 2025. Don't forget that date, because it's about to become legendary in women's basketball. 2 players, 2 jersey retirements, but only one is stealing the spotlight like a supernova. Caitlin Clark and A'ja Wilson, both revolutionizing women's basketball in their own ways, are set to have their jerseys retired on the same day. But that's where the comparison ends. Clark's ceremony at Iowa is generating a buzz that's completely overshadowing Wilson's South Carolina event.
Iowa taking on USC and Juju Watkins. Nationally televised game, I believe. February 2nd, 2-2, so it's 22. Everything about it lines up.
Let's talk numbers because they're crazy. The cheapest ticket to see Clark's jersey rise to the rafters is over $700, which is the most expensive ticket in women's basketball history. For some perspective, this price tag is even steeper than the cheapest ticket to an NBA Finals game. And if you're aiming for the best seats in the house, you'd better have a thick wallet, with tickets going for over $8,000. Meanwhile, you can catch a seat at Wilson's ceremony for just $25. No, that's not a typo. We're talking about a price difference more than 28 times higher for Clark's event.
But that is a supply and demand thing, especially in today's day and age where there's no such thing as a sellout, right? Where you can go to any event you want as long as you're willing to pay for it because of the secondary ticket market.
Social media is blowing up with reactions. This isn't just about ticket prices. It's a game-changing moment for women's basketball. The demand we're seeing now was unimaginable just a few years ago. Clark's final home game shattered records with tickets reaching $450. But now that feels like pocket change compared to her retirement ceremony. What's unfolding here is Clark reshaping the entire landscape of women's basketball. She's not just rewriting the record books on the court, she's breaking barriers off it. Clark has become a cultural icon, drawing in fans who might have never tuned into a women's basketball game before.
I'm leading scorer in women's college basketball.
But wait, there's more. This story is far from over. What does Wilson and her team have to say about this, you may ask?
One of the sentiments that was expressed was, oh, it's the same day as A'ja Wilson's. How could you do? First of all, I remember them announcing A'ja Wilson was getting her jersey retired, but I didn't remember the date or anything. When the Clark news broke, I didn't think about A'ja Wilson. And again, as is the case with Caitlin Clark, this only is going to bring more attention to A'ja Wilson's jersey retirement.
As ticket prices for Clark's ceremony soared, another kind of inflation was taking over: online outrage. A'ja Wilson's fans aren't just upset, they're convinced a conspiracy is at play. But what if the real story is even more explosive than they think? The social media storm ignited with Wilson's supporters crying foul over the timing of Clark's jersey retirement. One fan didn't hold back, tweeting, "Why would y'all retire her jersey on the same day as A'ja Wilson? Are y'all stupid?" This sentiment echoed across social media, with Wilson's fan base feeling like their star was being overshadowed by the Clark phenomenon. But here's where it gets interesting. The timeline of these announcements tells a different story. Iowa didn't just pull Clark's jersey retirement out of thin air. They revealed their plans back on April 11th, 2024, right after the NCAA championship game.
And yes, Clark did get a standing ovation when Iowa's athletics director announced that the university will retire her number 22
jersey. That number
jersey.
holds a lot of weight, far beyond my name, and I guess I'm just really grateful, and it'll be a special day when that happens for sure. Thank you. It's been very special, and this place will always be home to me.
South Carolina didn't unveil their plans for Wilson's jersey retirement until October 2024. 6 months later, folks. Wilson's fans are saying they're not Clark fans, so why should they care about Iowa stealing the spotlight with their announcement? Why can't both players be honored on the same day?
First of all, there's nothing wrong with two schools retiring respective jerseys on the same day. But secondly, if you wanted the focus to be on A'ja Wilson, she'll probably get more attention as the second, most recognized jersey retirement of that day than she would have if she had the stage all to herself on that.
So why are Wilson's fans so certain that Iowa is trying to steal South Carolina's thunder? It all boils down to the meteoric rise of Clark's popularity. Iowa's athletic director, Beth Gutz, put it bluntly, Clark's accomplishments have made a lasting impact on the university and on women's basketball. They weren't responding to Wilson's announcement. They were celebrating their own superstar. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Why did it take South Carolina so long to honor Wilson? One fan pointed out the obvious. Why did it take a decade for South Carolina to retire A'ja's number? How is that Iowa's problem? It's a fair question. Wilson graduated in 2018, yet it's taken until 2025 for her alma mater to retire her jersey. That's not on Iowa, that's on South Carolina.
And South Carolina waited years and years to retire A'ja's jersey.
The conspiracy theories are running wild, with some of Wilson's supporters convinced that Iowa deliberately picked this date to overshadow A'ja's moment. But let's think this through. Iowa chose a date that aligns with a high-profile game against USC, featuring rising star Juju Watkins, which was already set to be nationally televised. Plus, Clark's jersey has been hanging in Carver Hawkeye Arena for months. Everyone knew it was coming. How could Iowa possibly know when A'ja's retirement ceremony was planned? No one even knew about it until Clark made her announcement. This isn't about stealing anyone's spotlight. It's about maximizing exposure for women's basketball as a whole.
And then there was, Iowa is rushing this. They're rushing, or everything is rushed with Caitlin Clark. No, she just did things faster and garnered more attention and more notoriety and celebrity and celebration and popularity.
Here's what's hilarious. Some fans are actually asking for Wilson to move her date. One tweet put it bluntly, "Tell A'ja to move her date." Then the face of the WNBA is retiring hers. Show some respect. It's a stark reminder of how quickly the landscape of women's basketball is evolving. So what's really happening here? Is this about disrespect? Or is it simply a changing of the guard in women's basketball? The facts don't back up the conspiracy theories. Iowa's plans were in place long before Wilson's announcement, and they're just capitalizing on Clark's massive popularity. But here's the twist. There might be more to A'ja's reaction than just the jersey retirement itself. Is this truly about the ceremony, or could it be a deeper feeling of jealousy?
I think, kind of how you mentioned earlier, just finding the rhythm, finding the confidence in game. Shooting 25 shots in a row in practice is different than getting your 4 looks in a game and not being able to knock them down and having the confidence to continue shooting them. So I think just getting the opportunity in that second half of the season and seeing them go in and then continuing to get those open looks really just fed that confidence, and I think that hot streak towards the end.
I couldn't bring myself to face my teammates anymore. We just longed for it to end. These chilling remarks from Lexie Hull shook the WNBA landscape in her latest explosive interview. Hull finally speaks out about the Indiana Fever's 2024 season with Caitlin Clark. What transformed this struggling squad into championship contenders? Why did Hull's bond with Clark surprise everyone? Hull uncovers the team's secrets, locker room tensions, and the truth behind their legendary turnaround. You won't believe what truly happened behind closed doors.
I mean, the numbers support it. We obviously know it is a truism, but even last year, where the numbers were not where you wanted them to be, when you played 10 to 19 minutes, you shot 11% from three. When you played 20 to 29, it was 22%. You played north of 30 minutes, you were 33%. You were finding it as you went, and then obviously you've elevated all of those levels in the process. Was there a moment that, when you're talking to Christy Sides early on, where you're being told, I am going to get more of this playing time, more of this opportunity? And does that help feed your confidence as well?
The 2024 season kicked off as a relentless nightmare for the Indiana Fever. Lexie Hull reclines in her chair, takes a deep breath, and reveals what truly transpired during those grueling early weeks. 11 games in just 20 days. It still sounds unbelievable, even when she recounts it now. She shakes her head in disbelief. This wasn't merely a tough schedule, it was the most intense stretch the WNBA had witnessed since 2003.
I mean, honestly, I can't really pinpoint a moment. It was, I think, just I was given a chance in a game and I hit a couple early ones, and then you get a couple more minutes, and you hit another one and you get a couple more minutes. So it wasn't ever like I was told you're going to be playing today, make sure you take advantage of it. It was just,
Right.
when you're sitting on that bench and you don't know when your number is going to be called, and when it finally is called, just trying to take advantage of it. And I was just happy that the ball went in.
We were trudging back to the hotel at 2 a.m. after a game, and guess what? Another game awaited us the very next night. Hull discloses that the team was completely drained, barely having the chance to analyze game footage, let alone train. The physical toll was unmistakable. Ice packs, trips to the training room, and fatigued faces became commonplace in the Fever locker room. Yet, the mental strain was even more intense. Hull's voice softens as she recalls those dark times. Doubts begin to creep in. Your shots miss, your legs feel heavy, and the losses keep stacking up. It messes with your mind. The team's record plummeted to 2-11, a start that left fans and the media questioning whether the Fever could ever turn things around.
Do you know what you shot from three? You shot 66.7% from three. When you went out there, there's no such thing as tired legs in that scenario. You are sinking 2 and 3. No one does that. No one does. I mean, it's just incredible.
The pressure became unbearable. Every missed shot felt personal, and each loss deepened our doubts. Hull remembers sitting alone in the gym after a tough defeat. My three-point percentage had dropped to 11%, and I couldn't make a basket like I did at Stanford. Coach Christy Sides saw the team struggling and called a meeting that changed everything. Hull's eyes light up as she recounts. Coach didn't yell or give a speech. She listened. For 3 hours, we shared our struggles. It felt like a weight was lifted. We realized we weren't alone. The next day, everything changed. Practices focused on small victories, strong defense, perfect passes, and supporting each other after mistakes. Coach told us to stop watching the scoreboard and start looking at each other, Hull explains. This shift turned the Fever around, transforming them into championship contenders.
When did you know that it was finally going to click for you? I mean, yeah, you hit 4 threes early on in the year, on May 25th against Las Vegas. There were signs early on that you were finding it. This before you even were starting. Was there a moment where it felt like this was finally happening? And again, was there any sort of off-season change? Was there anything that you were doing differently that helped this happen? Or does the ball just start going through the hoop for you?
May the 25th, 2024, the game that changed everything. The Fever faced Las Vegas, the league's powerhouse, and nobody expected them to win. I wasn't slated for major minutes, but then something magical happened. The first 3 shots went in, and it felt different, Hull recalls, imitating her shooting motion. By the 4th shot, the crowd was wild. Hull had found her groove and confidence. This led to one of the most remarkable turnarounds in WNBA history. Her shooting soared from 11% to 47.1% from three-point range. When the coach gave me more minutes, everything clicked, she explains. In games with over 30 minutes, she shot an incredible 66.7% from beyond the arc.
I think for me, we have some incredible playmakers on our team and incredible people that can get you the ball when you're open and create advantages. And so me being one of those people that I'm spacing the floor and I need to knock down those shots. So not only, holding myself accountable to do that as my role and hit those open looks, but also being able to stand up for my teammates and say, thank you. You're doing the work, you're doing the hard work, and I'll be here and I'll knock it down when I need to.
But the numbers only tell part of the story. The true transformation happened during practice. Hull reveals their secret weapon, midnight sessions after games. While most teams slept, we were in the gym. Coach Sides would spread out the balls and say, "Show me you want it." These late-night practices became legendary. Veterans mentored rookies, and players with limited minutes pushed the starters in scrimmages. The team developed unique signals, inside jokes, and a chemistry beyond basketball. We became more than teammates, Hull says. We became family. Her shooting routine was almost religious, 500 shots before and after practice. She studied film of her successful games, perfecting her form. As her shots improved, the team's chemistry off the court strengthened too. They began having team dinners, movie nights, and community service events. Fighting alongside people you care about hits different, Hull explains. Then everything changed when Caitlin Clark joined the Indiana Fever's practice facility. Lexie Hull recalls, the energy was different. Media and fans surrounded the gym. Hull laughs about her first practice with Clark. "I had to rewire my brain," she admits. "I'd be running to the basket, and suddenly the ball was in my hands. Caitlin found impossible angles." The chemistry between Clark and Hull developed quickly. They stayed after practice to work on timing and understanding each other. Caitlin would say, "If you get to this spot, I'll find you every time," and she did. But the pressure to perform intensified under the national spotlight. There were games where we felt the weight of expectations and constant attention. It tests you mentally, Hull admits. From nearly quitting to becoming one of the WNBA's deadliest shooters, Lexie Hull's journey with the Indiana Fever is about never giving up.
The reality is that as far from a marketing perspective, Caitlin Clark is worth more than almost any pro basketball player in the world. If we're purely talking about giving the money for endorsement deals.
Today, we're diving into the real story behind Caitlin Clark's wealth. Her WNBA salary? Just the tip of the iceberg. Discover how she's cashing in big with speaking gigs that outpace her on-court earnings. The game-changing impact of her endorsements with State Farm and Wilson, and why her Nike deal could spark some serious drama. Let's break it all down.
Which was mental. Which was absolutely mental.
Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why Caitlin Clark is poised to become the next powerhouse in sports marketing, and why some top brands might be kicking themselves for not jumping on board sooner.
Higher than the NBA. So I was like, oh, what's she gonna get paid? Because finally, you can get a real paycheck. And then I saw it and I was like, this can't be right. Because this is what it is. In the first year, Caitlin Clark will earn $76,535.
Can you believe that Caitlin Clark, the basketball sensation electrifying the courts, is set to earn a mere $76,535 in her rookie WNBA season? That's less than many entry-level office positions. When compared to NBA salaries, the disparity is glaring. leading many to argue that players like Clark are being undervalued by the league. However, this modest salary doesn't tell the whole story. Let's explore why Clark isn't losing sleep over her WNBA paycheck. While $70,000 might not scream superstar salary, it's actually just the beginning of Caitlin Clark's financial story. Here's the twist. The WNBA isn't just a paycheck, it's her secret weapon. The league offers something far more valuable than money: visibility. Think about it. Every time Clark steps onto the court, millions tune in. Her games dominate national broadcasts. Her highlight reels flood social media, and her name is on everyone's radar. This kind of exposure is a goldmine for marketing opportunities, turning her platform into a multi-million-dollar springboard.
Like, whatever really happens with Caitlin Clark, I would say her big thing is to be ready for the WNBA season. And people are like, why? She's only making $70,000 in the WNBA. What is the point of her worrying about that league rather than trying to push for other leagues and other ways of making more money? Because the WNBA is what's getting the most eyes.
Think about it. When Caitlin Clark sinks a deep three-pointer or threads an impossible pass, you're witnessing more than just incredible basketball. You're watching a brand come to life. Every crossover, every jaw-dropping assist, every buzzer beater isn't just a highlight. It's another opportunity for Clark to show the world her magic. And trust me, the world is paying attention. So, how is Clark turning all this visibility into cash? That's where it gets really exciting. Her modest WNBA salary is just the beginning, opening the floodgates to a slew of opportunities off the court. We're talking about endorsement deals, speaking gigs, and partnerships that could eclipse her league earnings many times over. And then there's the game changer, the Unrivaled League.
And it has also been reported that Unrivaled 3-on-3 League offered Caitlin Clark significant equity in the league and a salary that is over $1 million. So this is the first time that we've heard of any money being thrown at her. We've heard that it would be a major deal. It would be a similar setup as to what Messi got.
You've probably heard the buzz. Some people are saying Clark should ditch the WNBA and join Unrivaled, where she could be raking in millions from the start. But here's the kicker. Clark turned it down. Clark's playing the long game here. Sure, Unrivaled might offer a fatter paycheck right out of the gate, but the WNBA provides something Unrivaled can't touch yet: a proven platform with a loyal fan base and major media deals that guarantee her visibility on a national scale. So, next time someone complains about Caitlin Clark's $70,000 WNBA salary, remember this: it's just the tip of the iceberg. Clark isn't just dominating the court, she's rewriting the playbook on how athletes build their brands. And trust me, this is only the beginning of what she's capable of. Clark's most valuable skill might not even be her basketball prowess, it's her ability to talk. But we're not talking about post-game interviews. No, Clark is raking in six figures for speaking engagements that take less time than a single quarter of basketball.
I think she's either one, if she shows up to somewhere, you're probably paying her $2,000 to $3,000 or $200,000 to $300,000, or it's free. I think she probably does a lot of things for free. That would be my prediction, is that if she wants to be somewhere and she just wants to help out, she'll do quite a few things for free. But if she's not doing it for free, I would say her cost is crazy high.
You heard that right. Caitlin Clark is absolutely dominating on stage 2. Her speaking engagements are becoming the stuff of legend, and the numbers are jaw-dropping. Let's break it down. Clark's virtual speaking fee kicks off at $100,000 for just 30 minutes of her time. In less time than it takes to watch half an episode of a sitcom, she's earning more than most people make in an entire year. And for in-person appearances, companies are shelling out anywhere between $200,000 and $300,000. That's the price of a house in some parts of the country for just one appearance. Clark has already done at least 6 speaking engagements in the past year alone. Do the math, and you're looking at potential earnings in the millions. And it's not just in-person events. These gigs are happening online too, with big-name companies ready to pay top dollar for her words. But why are companies willing to shell out so much just to hear Clark speak? It all comes down to her star power. Every time Clark steps onto the WNBA court, her profile gets bigger. She's not just an athlete, she's a brand, an inspiration, a role model. Companies aren't just paying for her time, they're paying for the attention she commands, the excitement she stirs, and the influence she holds.
This is a place where players can come and get better and be surrounded by an organization that supports you. They're going to have everything they need to be successful. So
the Indiana Fever are about to make a huge move in WNBA history. They're not just aiming for one star player, not even two. They're targeting 10 game-changing free agents who could make them serious title contenders. You might be wondering, how can they afford all that talent? Well, that's where you're mistaken. The Fever have a secret weapon, Kelly Krauskopf. She's back with the team this year, and she's got a bold vision. Kelly's not here to play it safe. She's here to get things done.
I know the free agent situation in the WNBA, but are you in a position where you can add some pieces?
yes, we are. We're definitely in a position. And I would think that if you are a smart basketball player and you watch the way she plays, you would want to play with her.
With her vast network and resources, Kelly is determined to make Indiana the hottest spot in the WNBA. Her strategy is bold, and it's already catching everyone's attention. You won't believe the plans she has in store to turn the Fever into a true powerhouse. You know that moment in a movie when the two main characters finally join forces, and you just know you're about to see something incredible? That's the vibe right now, because Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are about to team up for the Indiana Fever.
Good thing for women's basketball. I'm playing alongside this kid, so it makes everything, a little bit more dramatic, and like the people are coming out to see this person. So we just do what we can. We embrace it. I'm pretty sure our organization can feed off of it.
Let's take a moment to focus on Kelsey Mitchell. Did you know she averaged 19.2 points per game last season? That's not just impressive. That's all-star caliber. And it's not like she had just a few good nights either. After the Olympic break, Mitchell went on a scoring spree, putting up 20 or more points in 7 straight games. Imagine trying to guard someone that reliable. Now, think about Mitchell teaming up with Caitlin Clark. We're talking about two of the top shooters in the game coming together. How are defenses supposed to handle that? Clark's college numbers are through the roof, and her knack for setting up her teammates is incredible. With Clark's playmaking skills and Mitchell's scoring, this could be the most exciting backcourt the WNBA has ever seen.
Because Kelsey Mitchell said basketball is a language and you have to get on the same page. Me and Caitlin like to play fast and up-tempo, and I'm always going to align based on how she's playing and how she's going.
Here's where things get really interesting. Kelsey Mitchell is a free agent right now. The Fever have to re-sign her, right? But at what price? We're talking about a player who has been the heart and soul of the team. Even the Fever's president said they wouldn't be where they are today without her. That kind of praise doesn't come cheap. So, let's break down what it might actually take to keep Mitchell in Indiana. Spoiler alert, it's a hefty sum. We're talking about a Supermax qualifying offer of around $250,000. That's a big investment, but can the Fever really afford to let Mitchell go?
Look, we're going to evaluate everything and have those types of discussions with her.
Here's the thing. It's not only about the money, it's about building a championship caliber team. That's where Caitlin Clark comes into play. Bringing her on board isn't just about her own skills. It's about how she can make everyone around her better, especially a scorer like Mitchell.
But all signs point to her returning, including her and Clark attending the Pacers and Grizzlies game.
You might be wondering if these two can really work together. Won't they end up competing for shots? But that's the best part. Clark isn't just a scorer. She's a true playmaker. and Mitchell has already proven she can thrive alongside other star guards. This isn't about two players battling for the spotlight. It's about two stars joining forces to create something that's even better than what they could achieve individually.
Kelsey Mitchell has been an all-star, but she had the stage, the bright lights, and everybody could see what kind of bucket getter she is. Plus, Caitlin draws the defense. Kelsey gets to go one-on-one and put her skills on display.
A'ja Wilson 1, Nafisa Collier 2, Sabrina Ionescu 3, Brianna Stewart 4, Alyssa Thomas 5, and honorable mentions, Caitlin Clark.
Did you catch the latest WNBA bombshell? Caitlin Clark, the rookie powerhouse who's been dominating the courts and shattering records all season, has been shockingly left out of the top MVP conversation. But here's where it gets even more explosive. A'ja Wilson, the current MVP, is furious. Why? Because fans and analysts are increasingly saying that Clark's incredible performance deserves the MVP title more than her. How did Clark, with her standout stats and game-changing impact, get sidelined like this? The controversy is igniting intense debates across the basketball community.
She is leading the WNBA in points generated, which means points scored and or points assisted on. She is leading the league by a significant margin, and she is doing this as a rookie with a Fever team that is not comprised of a bunch of all-stars.
Let's dive into the MVP rankings that are making big waves in the WNBA. Leading the pack is A'ja Wilson, confidently holding the top spot.
There's no debating it. If you even talk about MVP, you have to be like, well, of course A'ja Wilson's running away with it. Like, you cannot even have any kind of constructive conversation around MVP unless you preface it by saying, well, I already know that A'ja Wilson won. Like, that's the standard.
Coming in hot at number 2 is Nafisa Collier from the Minnesota Lynx. Every time she steps onto the court, she takes full command of the game, leaving a massive impact on both her team and the opposition. Quiet yet lethal, Collier consistently asserts her dominance, making it impossible to ignore her formidable presence.
And Nafisa can take over the game at any point in time. We've seen her do this on multiple occasions.
Sabrina Ionescu is stubbornly holding on to the third spot, even though some argue she doesn't quite deserve it. Behind her, Brianna Stewart and Alyssa Thomas secure their places in the top 5. But here's the real surprise. Where is Caitlin Clark? The rookie sensation who's been setting the league ablaze with her incredible performances is completely absent from the top 5. Unbelievable, right?
Getting to the honorable mention, they have Caitlin Clark.
You might think there's been a mix-up, but nope. That's exactly how the MVP rankings stand today. Their website even spotlighted Caitlin Clark with this statement.
While the Fever underwent understandable woes in the first month of the season, Indiana is 14-6 over their last 20 games, including 2 massive wins coming out of the All-Star break. Clark has found a synergy with her teammates and elite comfort on the floor as a facilitator and creator. She's knocking on the door of first-team All-W and top 5 finish in MVP voting.
Did you hear that? Caitlin Clark is just knocking on the MVP door? Not quite. Clark isn't merely knocking, she should already have a seat at the top. In fact, Caitlin Clark undeniably deserves a spot in the top 3 MVP contenders alongside A'ja Wilson and Nafisa Collier, and the numbers leave no room for doubt.
Look at their stats. A'ja wipes the floor with both of them. The only categories that she doesn't have are assists, 3-point percentage, and free throw percentage. Caitlin has all of those. She is tied for steals with Nafisa.
Let's be honest, A'ja Wilson was outstanding, no doubt. But rookie Caitlin Clark has outshined her in crucial areas like assists, free throw percentages, and 3-pointers, even setting the assist record. Clark's on-court impact is undeniable, proving she's anything but average. So why is she being overlooked? It's got everyone puzzled. Some say it's because she's a rookie and the league prefers established stars. Others argue that individual stats don't capture the whole picture. This snub hasn't gone unnoticed. The debate is heating up, with voices like Rachel Demita criticizing the WNBA's MVP selection process. Demita points out that every time Clark elevates her game, the bar for her recognition keeps rising, making it harder for her to secure the MVP title she clearly deserves. Historically, only one rookie, Candace Parker in 2008, has ever won the MVP award. It feels like there's an unwritten rule against first-year players being the most valuable. But why? Are rookies seen as too inexperienced, or is there a bias towards veterans? Clark is challenging this by excelling not just as a rookie, but across multiple facets of the game. As Skip Bayless put it, nobody in the league can flick logo threes as effortlessly as Caitlin can. Clark is now pushing A'ja Wilson for the MVP crown with her exceptional ability to control the game. While Wilson has secured back-to-back championships with a star-studded team, Clark is transforming the Indiana Fever. Before the All-Star break, the Fever were struggling with a 13-27 record. After the break, they flipped the script with a 14-6 run, thanks to Clark's leadership and stellar performances. She's not just scoring, she's elevating her entire team, leading them to the playoffs for the first time since 2016. When comparing Clark to Candace Parker, Clark is already surpassing Parker's rookie stats in assists, steals, three-pointers, and free throw percentage. Her all-around game is setting new standards, proving she's a game changer. Her impact on the Fever is clear, turning a struggling team into one of the league's hottest. Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson shines on a team loaded with Team USA players and multiple All-Stars, making her achievements impressive but also supported by a strong roster. In contrast, Clark excels without the same level of star support, highlighting her individual value. The MVP debate in the WNBA is intensifying. Should the award go to the player with the best stats, the one who drives their team's success, or the one who's revolutionizing the game? Clark's season is forcing us to rethink traditional MVP criteria, blending individual excellence with transformative team impact. Caitlin Clark's rise is more than a rookie story, it's a revolution in the WNBA. As she continues to dominate and elevate her team, the question remains, is it time to break down old barriers and recognize the true value players like Clark bring to the league? The MVP conversation isn't over, and Clark is right at the center, challenging us to redefine what it means to be the most valuable player. What do you think? Should the MVP go to the player with the best stats, the one who boosts their team's success, or the one who's redefining the game?